what is up and how's it going? Welcome back to another edition of Dynasty Doctors. We haven't been here in a while, Shane, but the doctors are back in and with a draft episode. It's the most wonderful time of the year, if you ask me. But I'm your host, Tyler, here with my co-host, Shane O'Mac, making his appearance after a little vacation. How's it going, Shane?
What's up, my brother? Yep, I'm back. I'm ready. Best week of the year. I want to get all my draft picks and David Putney just because I want to. Might watch a little draft day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a yearly special. Usually the day before the draft, I'll watch it. It's and not to go into a whole diatribe about it. None of these trades would work, and is by far like not a cinematic masterpiece, but it's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. Just because it covers the draft. It's amazing.
Yeah, when he hits him with the pancake MFer quote, great. It's cheesy, but I mean it's great.
Oh yeah, I mean.
They're Brian Drew Smallville Superman quarterback. I mean, the thing with the $100 in the playbook. I mean, it's got some doozies in it.
Oh yeah. Oh man, there's a bunch of stuff that they've had. I wish I could remember, and I didn't even think we'd talk about this. But there's definitely a Jamarcus Russell story that's somewhere similar about it, where he like just lied to the team and doubled down on it.
No, he 100%. He so they gave him a blank playbook.
That's what it was.
And they asked him if he learned the plays and was ready to go. And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and you gave that dude like $80 million. That's gotta stink.
Yeah. I mean, look, they can't all be winners. I mean, for every Jamarcus Russell and Justin Blackmon, you'll get, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. So it's really just a crapshoot with the draft. But well, Shane, there was some major news. I don't know if you knew about this. We just jump right into it regarding the hometown Saints. I won't call them your team anymore because we've discussed this, that they're not your team anymore.
They are not.
But there's an injury bug going around. Apparently hosting YouTube videos showing off your brand new car really just hurts your shoulder. But for those who aren't initiated or didn't listen to last recap episode with me and Joey, Derek Carr magically, and I mean it's just magically, comes up with a possible season-ending shoulder injury. For those who don't know, they're now claiming that it's a continuance from 2023 AC joint sprain, which, I mean, it's mighty funny. He was able to play without it. I mean, with it in 2024, looked dang good in those first two games. Didn't seem to really be bothering him too much. Shane, I'll let you take this one over. I talked a lot about this on the last episode, so I want to hear your thoughts.
It's a two-part problem for me. It's either A, the Saints knew about this and still decided to restructure him and keep him for some reason, which makes no sense because from all my consideration, if he doesn't play this season, he's played his last snap with the Saints. He'll be gone next year.
100%.
Fair. Second thing is if it's the Saints didn't know this is this dude like pouting and basically hiding behind an injury because he doesn't want to play for the Saints. But as far as I'm concerned, there's no market for him where anyone wants him. I mean, you've got these teams, and we'll probably dive into this a little more. They're clamoring over talent that isn't as elite as years past or maybe years coming up at quarterback. And I saw someone put, if Spencer Rattler came out this year, he'd probably be the first overall pick. Well, if that's the case, and I'm not saying I agree with it. I just they made that statement.
Yeah,
or he would be the second quarterback taken. But regardless, if people think that way, then what? There's a lot of chatter about the Saints taking a quarterback early this year. Why would you not try to see what you got with Rattler and draft the best player available that's not a quarterback? And if not, you'll probably be drafting early next year if he's not good. Go after Arch Manning or whatever quarterback's probably going to be better than this class. Or two, go try to trade for someone. I mean, this probably would never happen, but why don't you take Kirk Cousins? You just got I know it's not going to happen, but you have all this cap space you made room. The Falcons want you to eat some of that cap. I mean, I don't know. The whole situation for the Saints, it just is they're in a prime position to like trade down and all I'm hearing is they might trade up. They're in love with Jackson Dart.
Yep, that's the rumor I've been hearing. I've been hearing Shador is not even on the radar for the Saints.
I think the Giants are playing coy. I think the Giants are going to draft Shador.
You think at 3 overall?
Yes,
man. I mean,
and this. I mean, we could. We kind of talked about Carr ad nauseum. I think the situation's terrible. I think it's more of him. He's trying to force his way out. If he wanted to force his way out, he should have done this before they restructured. There's no way for them to get rid of him. They can just put him on the IR, and then, I mean, I would tell him not to even come to the facility because he's a cancer.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's, if you listen to Diana Rossini and Chase Daniels talk about it, it's pretty tongue in cheek where they're like, yeah, he could have went out and started throwing a football and it just all of a sudden hurting. But the vibe around the league that everybody's kind of saying outside looking in is like, this is him faking it. Like, not so much faking, like he may actually be hurt. And I don't want to take it to credit. Look, he has gotten his butt handed to him behind this crappy offensive line. I will give him that. But if you don't miss any time for it in 2024, it can't be that bad, right? Like, I just think this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I could have maybe pushed this off to after I retired or something like that, but I think I'm just going to do it now because I don't want to play for the Saints anymore. But here's the other thing, right? And I've just kind of been putting this timeline together. He made statements very early on, before the Super Bowl even came here, that he wasn't going to take a pay cut, but he's more than willing to do a restructure to help the team. More than willing. But yet you're pissed that they restructured your contract? Dude, if you wanted out, instead of playing all these mind games and stuff like that, come out, be a man, sack up, and just say, I demand a trade. I would have more respect for Derek Carr as a human being if he just came out and said, I want to trade or release me. I don't want to play for you anymore. That's fine. Cool. But don't wait till we cut you a $40 million check that you go deposit in your bank account and then go create a YouTube channel with your brother to show off your new $500,000 EV crappy car. Like,
yeah, the guy's never been it for me. I tried to give him a chance, saying, hey, maybe he's misunderstood. He is proven to be everything that he is advertised, which is a problem, a prima donna. The one thing I will say is during this whole, I think what's being overlooked is Rattler has been at the facility when he doesn't have to be. He's been putting in a lot of work, which makes me say, give the guy a chance. At the end of the day, if there's other quarterbacks you like, draft them late. There's a lot of these guys that like that. Tyler, was it Slow or?
Oh, it's Shuck.
Okay.
It's literally Shuck. Yes, I know. It's spelled.
I couldn't have got there. I would have never got there if you didn't tell me that.
Well, exactly. That's look, experience, buddy. Experience.
Yeah. They say the Notre Dame kid was that Leonard.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
Will
see
Howard.
It. Yeah, I don't see it. But take some of these guys and just get a young quarterback room. If you think you've built this roster to be competitive, then you could put some of these guys in. The guys like Rattler. I mean, let them play. But I would keep Derek Carr away from this team as much as you can. If this is his end game, I don't know who signs him after this year.
I mean,
and he's not going to be signed as a starter, I wouldn't think.
He'll get the Russell Wilson treatment. I guarantee you. There will be some team that's needy enough they'll sign to like a $5 to $10 million deal that's incentive lease, just because they're like, if they're in a situation Saints are in, right? Like they're maybe won too many games, quarterback retired, whatever. Maybe that's the bridge there. You know what I mean? But I don't see him getting huge starter money. Like that's why it made no sense to me when they're like, oh well, yeah, he wanted to trade, but if your shoulder's really hurt, you can't pass a physical. Like this is 1 + 1 is not equaling 2 here.
No, I just think I hope from a former Saints fan that they don't. If you're going to try to go after Jackson Dart, don't take him 9th.
No,
take Will Campbell or take a defensive lineman or take Ted McMillan. Take a player that can contribute no matter who's the quarterback. And if you want to trade back up and you've got some ammo and you think this is the guy and you want to trade into the later rounds, more power to you. I don't agree with it, but as long as they don't draft him 9th, I think it's okay. I think the best thing for the Saints fans is that Shador goes like 3rd or someone maybe trades up for him.
I'll be honest with you. I think I think if Shador goes 3, that it raises a higher chance of us taking that swing at dart at 9.
Yeah. It's plus 1,200 on DraftKings if you want to bet it. I mean, I might be betting that just for fun.
Oh man. Is it for him to go 9 or is it for him to get drafted?
No, to go exactly 9.
To go 9. Okay. You know me, I don't look at all that stuff until draft day. Just to try to, and I'll lay some stuff down, but
well, speaking of, I'd love your opinion on a couple things here, Tyler. Speaking of horrible quarterbacks and just overrated quarterbacks,
fair enough.
How great is Aaron Glenn having Rodgers fly out on his own dime? Ask him, "Are you still planning on playing?" He says, "Yes." So hold on one second. Gets the GM's like, "Yeah, we're going to go in another direction."
Yeah, I mean, look. First of all, there's actually been disputed that report. The Jets have actually said. So it wasn't like hey, Aaron, come out and meet us over here. We're going to discuss the future. It was literally Aaron being like, hey, I'm going to be in New York on that side of the country. And they're like, oh, cool. Come meet us. So it wasn't like he flew out there for that reason.
Not a shocker there that Aaron Rodgers would lie or inflate. The dude, I'm sorry, he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time. I understand he's made the MVP, but he had a killer arm, but maybe it's his attitude. Couldn't happen to a better person to me.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you watched the episode, but he's like, oh yeah, and he talks about the vaccination thing. I'm like, can you get off of it, bro?
Yeah, dude. COVID was 5 years ago. Can we talk about the fact that you haven't thrown a good season since COVID?
Yeah, pretty much, dude. Like, you went to the Jets. Okay, you tore your Achilles. That's not on you. But you came back last year and blamed everybody else but yourself for your crappy play. Let's not beat around the bush here. Garrett Wilson hated you. Like, there's a bunch of people in that locker room that hated you.
Yeah. The Jets got a good roster. I think it's smart that they took a smart route, give Justin Fields his opportunity. They can keep trying to build a team. They have a lot of talent. Yeah. And guess what? They can try to, if Justin Fields works out, great. If he doesn't, then they're going to, which is what the Saints should be doing. They should try with Spencer Rattler. If it doesn't work out, go try to compete for a quarterback that's coming out next year. That's more proven. The other thing I wanted to ask you, and I don't know why this drives me crazy, but
okay. Well, I love this, but go ahead.
Shedeur Sanders getting his number retired at Colorado.
Okay.
I will say this. Sorry, real quick. I don't have a problem with them doing it for Travis Hunter because he won the Heisman. But there's plenty of people who've played for Colorado who've done way more than Shedeur Sanders. And the fact that his number is already retired is pretty wild to me.
Okay. So let's call it what it is. It's more publicity than anything. Okay. Deion staying there, probably, that may have had something to do with it. I don't want to say it was, but factually, yes, I'll agree with you. There are better players that have gone through there that haven't had their number retired. But I'm just gonna play devil's advocate,
Okay.
But you can't deny the impact they had on that program.
I would say that they should have retired Deion and Travis Hunter before. I agree. I don't dislike Shedeur. Don't get me wrong, and I think it's a little. Deion's taking it personally, but just look at the stats, man. Like, I understand that Shedeur went there, and Travis Hunter came with him, and they did great things, and the program's in a better financial situation. But you don't retire players' numbers because the player's in a better financial. The program's in a better financial.
Look,
it's better because of his dad, not because of him.
I mean, and it's all correct. Like, there's no right answer here. Would I have retired his number? No. I'm just trying to give a different optic to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, that was pretty wild to me. I do want to say one thing on the Carr thing before we really dive into the draft here. I say good riddance, and this needs to be the closing of the door on the DA chapter of the Saints.
Yeah.
Because, look, you look at 2023 when they first brought him in, he was coddled constantly. He was yelling at players. You get rid of an entire offensive staff. A new one comes in, works for 2 games, and then it's everybody else's fault again. So, good riddance, starting a new chapter. That's all I wanted to say on that.
Okay.
So, with the draft, I do want to say, we'll just keep it with the Saints here. I agree with you. I've been hearing nothing but they are in love with Jackson Dart. Now, is that a smokescreen, or is that a real thing? But I'm just gonna lay out some things for you. Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier went to the Ole Miss Pro Day. They were not at the Colorado Pro Day or Showcase, whatever the hell you want to call it. They were calling it at the quarterbacks coach Scott Tolzien. So that may be a little telling. For me personally, and I want to get your take on this, and I mean you've already said it, but if you had to nitpick between the two, I know we started saying at 9 we would rather not take them, but if you had to choose between the two, who are you taking, Shador or Jackson Dart?
I'll probably catch some flack for saying this, but I'm always going to go with the guy who plays against the better talent. And
that's fair.
And that's Jackson Dart has played against a lot of defensive players that are going to be playing on Sunday. And I feel that while I don't necessarily want to draft either of them, if I'm saying, hey, the front office wants me to take him, I'm the coach, I'm going to take the guy who's played in the SEC.
Okay.
Some people might not like that. I don't like to be an SEC homer, but you still can't deny it. Once again, it's just facts. Go look at all the defensive players who come out of that conference. They're playing on Sunday at a high level. I wasn't impressed. I don't dislike Shador. I like you. He's confident. He's got moxie. When you look at him throw the ball, he throws the ball well. But when you look at his game tape, he does a lot of RPO, bubble screen, drop off. I mean, I think it's hilarious, but some people might not. Cam Ward and him were doing stuff together, and Cam Ward is just wearing this dude out. Like, yeah, my percentage would be that high if I just threw bubble screens.
I saw that.
I mean, like, Cam Ward was giving him the business, man. And I just, so who would you rather take? I mean, that's me. I think going up against tougher talent makes you a little bit better. Who would you take?
So it's not by a landslide. Okay. It's just for me with the way that, and look, I grew up. Well, I shouldn't say. Yeah, I guess grew up watching Drew Brees play. Didn't have a rocket arm. Play with anticipation, and I feel like if you squint just hard enough, you could see a little bit of that in Shador's game. Now, I'm saying very minute. I am not saying he is Drew Brees. Please do not clip this and say that. All I'm saying is
fair.
Yes. All I'm saying is that he plays with the same timing and anticipation with a quarterback. And to me, the most important thing for a quarterback to have is accuracy.
Okay.
So with that, but I love Dart's athletic ability. I like he's a bigger, stronger guy. Like physically, it's Dart all day, right? But with the processing skills and everything like that, it's really like if I could just take both of them and combine them, it'd be a number 1 overall pick. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, if the Saints draft Shador, could they just not let him wear number 2? All I have is nightmares of Aaron Brooks throwing the ball backwards. So
what do you think about the nickname though, Shadorlands or whatever the hell they're trying to do?
Oh goodness! I mean, you know what, dude? Look, I love Dion. If Dion's going to be around a team, I think it's going to be fun. But me personally, if I'm the GM of this team, I roll with Rattler. You drafted him last year. You've got other holes. I'll ask you, I mean, when we start diving in, because I've got a couple questions based on first overall pick, but I was shocked to see that Mel Kiper had Shador 5th overall and Cam Ward 6th.
Yeah, no, he's been consistently on that track. Now that's not. If you're asking me who I believe Cam Ward's a better quarterback right now. Like if I'm starting a team now, is he perfect? No, there's some processing stuff. The way it drives me nuts. I don't know if you ever watched him in a pocket when he's trying to escape. He holds the ball with one hand, and it drives
Cam Ward. You're talking about, right?
Cam Ward, yes, Cam Ward, Cam Ward, and it drives me nuts. If he can clean that up, and just a coach that puts him in a good position, he has all the physical gifts. And I heard a comparison of Big Ben to him, and I'm like, I could see it a little bit. Bigger guy, he's not super fast, but he has enough athleticism to be a problem. I can see a little bit.
So I guess we'll dive into the draft. Do you feel he is a lock for the first overall pick?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're minus 20,000 at DraftKings, so every $10 you bet, you get 5 cents.
Woo! Big money. No, 100% lock.
All right, so from a fantasy standpoint, with the probably the greatest running back class in the last 10 to 12 years, Right? They're comparing it to 2015, so it's got to be one of the best classes we've had in a long time.
Yeah, it's got more depth. I was gonna say 2023, but I feel like that's probably more top heavy than anything.
So yes, I know you're in love with Bijan still.
I mean, Gibbs is pretty freaking good too.
I know. Where do you see Cam Ward going in? Not super flex, just single quarterback dynasty leagues. Does he go in the first round, or you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Still late first round, you think?
I can see somebody taking a swing late first, maybe even like 7 overall kind of thing. If you're doing 10-team league, just because it's number 1 pick, still the number 1 pick, right? You know, people are always going to try to hitch their wagon to that, and then I can't go by need, but I would say if I'm just going by how I feel they are as a prospect, I'd say 7 to 10, maybe the 201.
Okay,
1 quarterback. Yeah.
All right. I mean, so I think we're all like first picks kind of boring. They're saying the second pick is basically a lock as well. Do you feel Travis Hunter is going to go at 2?
I feel like with everything that's being said, and then basically the Cleveland GM just coming out and just like giving him his flowers left and right, I feel like he's pretty much a lock for 2 as well. This draft's going to start at 3. Let's call it what it is.
Yep. Okay. So from a fantasy perspective, with the way Travis Hunter basically said, if he's not playing corner and receiver, he's not going to play football. It's a bold statement. Where does he fall? It's a controversial thing in dynasty leagues. Where do you draft him?
Dude, the more I look at it, I'll be honest with you, or like where you should draft him and being cautious is mid to late first round. Right?
Okay.
Looking at this class, and you got to look at your own roster and everything like that. I couldn't fault somebody if they took him 5 overall. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking a high upside swing. And especially if you get in the later rounds, more than likely your team's pretty good as it is. So why not take a lottery ticket? Okay, you burn the 110. Okay.
It's not a good look right now for the pass catchers in this draft as of our current recording time, because there's a lot of people trashing McMillan, right? I've heard him. Oh, we have him ranked in the 50s.
I saw that.
I don't agree with that, but so if there's a lot of there's always smoke, right? So, there can be some effects based on that.
Oh yeah,
come draft time, would you draft him over Tet McMillan based on, say, Tet McMillan doesn't go to the greatest landing spot?
I'll go with this, right? So the 2 landing spots I've been seeing for Tet have been the Cowboys at 12 or Seattle. I've seen as another one. If he goes to the Cowboys, I'm probably taking Tet just because it's a really good spot for him because he can play the outside boundary and have CD work the slot. And it's a high volume passing offense. I mean, you can't tell me Javonte Williams is going to be a 300 carry guy this year. They're going to toss the ball around the entire yard. Let's call it what it is. So if he goes there, now I'm still taking Tet. If Tet goes to Seattle, I may consider it.
Okay.
Going with Travis Hunter. Just because the way that offense is going to look, I mean, Seattle has pretty much told everybody, we're going to run the football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're running the ball. So that offense, I wouldn't like it, but Cowboys, I'd be about it.
I talked to so in one of our dynasty leagues, I talked to a guy who has the second pick, and he's leaning more towards running back, where he originally was leaning Tet.
Yeah,
and I think he owns the 6th pick or something, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I said I could see it going 4 running backs and a tight end before the receiver goes off, because depending on where one of the tight ends lines up, 2 years in a row we've had the top 10 in fantasy be drafted as a rookie. So that craze is still going on. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I will say this, before he came out and before the Browns were enamored, I was more like late first, early second. I could see Travis Hunter moving up into the mid rounds. So
100%. Because I get the fear of just burning a pick like he's just a cornerback all time, the entire time. Look, people, let's calm down. When he realizes he can make more money as a wide receiver, he's going to play wide receiver. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's just simple It's just that simple.
I mean, they did compare him to Shohei Ohtani, which is a huge comparison.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
Look at Shohei Ohtani. He's going to continue to bat. He probably won't pitch. He did it when he was younger, but like you just said, the money is at the receiving position. He's got killer hands. Go make your money.
Exactly. You have to. And the skill of like the ball skills are just insane, and the run after catch ability. Yeah, I mean that's where I would play him if I'm a team. But hey, it's ultimately, I mean, it's their choice. But I mean, he can put up a stink all he wants. But what's your next question, buddy?
All right, so wild card with third pick in the draft is the Giants. Okay. This is one of the first times in a long time I can remember a draft where I don't really know what the hell's going to happen after the first 2 picks.
I think it's Abdul Carter. I think this is all a smokescreen. Look, you're picking top 5, top 3. I understand maybe a rookie quarterback buys you some more time if you're the GM and the head coach. But there's also been reports that Brian Daboll is not enamored with Shador.
Okay.
So I just think that you go with the generational talent. And I hate to use that term, but you know what I mean. With Abdul Carter, and then you just go and then you build the team around like we've been talking about doing what the Saints need to do.
Yeah. So that goes. So I agree with you. I don't think they're going to draft him. But I thought the rumor at 4, which I know we talked about off air, the rumor was that if the Abdul Carter falls to the 4th pick to the Pats, that the Eagles are going to offer A.J. Brown plus to move up to the 4th round to draft Abdul Carter. I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
So, as somebody that has A.J. Brown, I'm not thrilled. But after thinking about it more often, the Eagles aren't a high-volume passing team anymore. Right. And maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him to get a change of scenery and with an up and coming quarterback and be peppered with targets. Now that's looking at it with rose colored glasses. He could also go there. They still suck because they have no offensive line and his production drops off incredibly. So I don't feel like there's a middle ground there. I feel like it's pretty much great or crap. And that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I think he could go there. He's obviously a great receiver, and I think he would give Drake May obviously a clear target. But his ceiling would basically be, to me, what he did for the Eagles, and there's no room to grow. Like, I don't think he's going to outperform where he's at with the Eagles. Maybe he could, but I'm a little shocked that after winning a Super Bowl. And I think that you've got these, like you're shopping Dallas Goedert. I get that. Yeah, I don't get the shop in the talking about getting AJ Brown. You've got like half of Georgia's defense on that team that, like you've got it's not like you're not I mean, you won the Super Bowl. You're not one defensive player away from repeating. I don't think. I mean, that team is extremely talented.
I mean, it's just more about building up restocking the cupboards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's one of the best. He, to me, is the best GM in football. So if he does it, there's got to be a reason. I think maybe he's striking early instead of striking late with A.J. Brown. But I was just a little shocked to hear that. So if they don't trade out, what do you think that the Pats do?
Will Campbell,
solid. Solid LSU Tiger right there with small hands, apparently.
No, short arms.
Short arms. I'm sorry.
Because I feel like at this point, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, he might be a guard. You can't take a guard in the top 5. I feel like with Drake May, you just need to get him offensive line help, regardless of where it is. And look, he may not be Quentin Nelson or Zach Martin, but if he's a solid 10-year starter and a solid Pro Bowler, it's a win. So,
and they're going to play him at guard. I didn't realize that until you just said that. They're going to play him at guard.
No, there's a lot of people. They're going to give him a shot at left tackle. You don't draft somebody that high without giving him a shot, but I think they're gonna. I think he'll eventually end up at a guard spot. His comp, and I heard not too long ago, and it just really stuck with me, was Joe Thuney, and I'm like, shit, that is dead on. Great, great in pass pro, nasty run blocker, can get overpowered at times, but can play the outside if they need to, but a shorter arm guy as well. So it was a really good comp, and I'm like, God, this is why these people get paid to do it.
It's a solid comp. I like it.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good comp there. I do like that a lot.
my next question, which this is near and dear to many people who own the first overall pick in Dynasty drafts. I've saw some steam that Genty could potentially go 5th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's what I've been seeing.
Or that this could be the first potential big trade spot where a team like the Bears, the Cowboys, or someone else who's in love with Genty would trade above the Raiders to get Genty. Do you think Genty goes top 5 on Thursday?
If I'm betting it, no.
Okay.
But I'm betting the team is going to be the Bears.
If he does. If
he does, yes. I even think even if he drops to 10, I can see a very real scenario of that happening. I think that the Raiders, this is a big smokescreen. And I think the thing that hurt Genty the most, like of not going to like 6 overall, is that such a deep running back class. You know what I mean?
Okay. So is there a landing spot? I think I already know this answer, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. Is there a landing spot for Genty that doesn't make him go first overall in single quarterback rookie drafts?
Is there a landing spot? Yeah, if
a
he goes
team
to the
that
Eagles.
A team that drafts him.
Yeah, if he goes like the Eagles or like
okay.
or like the Ravens or somebody that has an established starter in front of them. Other than that, no. Because if a team's investing a first-round draft pick in there, you just look at the success rates, right? I think it's like damn near 80% success rate for like quote-unquote hitting on that pick. So if you're investing it, you're pretty damn confident he's going to be a good back, you know? Now, if there was one scenario where I could get him to a certain spot, it'd be Denver. Could you imagine him in a Sean Payton offense? Oh, my God.
What happens if Denver trades up?
Then congratulations, you have the 101 and you can do a happy dance. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you at that point. That's the best case scenario. But there's a sneaky running back that I still think 3 running backs going in the first round.
I agree.
I think Henderson sneaks in.
Now let me ask you this. So I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was leaning 3, you were leaning 2 still. Are you moving towards 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round? Like,
if I'm a betting man and somebody gives me a line of 2.5, or no, I'm sorry, of 1.5, I'm taking the under. I can very easily see a scenario where only one quarterback goes in round 1.
Really? Okay.
So hear me out.
I love the take. I love it.
Jackson Dart accepted an invite to the draft. Now he decided to rescind it. Shador's not going to the draft. He decided to rescind it. I think Jalen Milroe is going, which that one's weird to me.
Alabama pride, baby.
Yeah, like I don't understand that one. Like, because normally they don't want guys like if you look at it recently, they don't like guys sitting there for that long, right? Like they want maybe one guy goes in the 20s, but they don't want anybody sitting there back there that long. So they try to invite guys that are projected to go high. So when the Jalen Milroe one happened, I'm like, wait, what? I can see him being a dart. Like if there's going to be, like if there's just a run on quarterbacks, then yeah, I can see him going in the first round. But I truly believe that teams are now taking the approach of, okay, do I really need to give up more assets to go up and draft a guy? I mean, look, if you want the 5th-year option, I get that. But why not sit at, okay, the Saints are at 40. I'm just going to use them as a reference. Saints are at 40. Look, all you have to do is just get ahead of Cleveland at 34.
I mean, you 32.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or 33, and you're good. You know, I mean, you throw in, it's not that far of a drop back. You throw in a 3rd or 4th, probably a 4th round pick gets the deal done, and you're good to go.
So would you agree, let's just go hypothetical here, 3 quarterbacks go in the top 10, which then would you say 4 quarterbacks would go? Do you think that someone would panic and trade into the back end of the first round to take Jalen Monroe?
Or Shuck. I've been hearing Shuck. There's rumors going around that Shuck may go top 20.
So I'm going to lean towards at least 3 quarterbacks being drafted on Thursday.
Look, that wouldn't shock me. I'm just saying.
And I'm tempted because I know you're coming over. We're going to watch this thing together. We got a couple guys coming. I'm doing like, instead of the Super Bowl prop pool, I'm doing like a little draft prop pool. And that's going to be one of the questions. How many quarterbacks go in the first round? How many running back? So it's curious. But once again, I don't feel like there's not many things I could say, man, I feel really comfortable picking this, betting this, it's going to be a wild draft, I think, which I love. I think it's going to be fun.
And it's also the first draft in a while, and first draft in forever. And I know we've dropped a stat before where everybody has their own first round pick.
Like it is. Which is wild. There's no team with 2.
No.
Which is
so
it's kind of crazy.
It is nuts. So let's do a so we've kind of gone through the top 5, right? We're kind of so if I had to guess for Jacksonville, I'm gonna say Graham still.
Okay.
But then from 6 to our pick at 9, I mean to the Saints pick at 9. Dude, it may be pass rusher every single pick. The way this is kind of shaping up, it may be pass rusher. And I'm going to say it now. I've told you this in private, and I've said it. I may have said it on one of the other podcasts. If the Saints, I don't care if Shamar Stewart turns out to be the next coming of Lawrence Taylor. We cannot. The Saints, just from a pure optic standpoint, cannot draft that dude at 9. I'm sorry. I don't care if this guy runs a 4 flat 40. You have taken your swing at these athletic freaks, and it hasn't worked out. You cannot keep going back to that well. And that's just my take on that one. I will be pissed if we take him at 9.
Yeah, they were going into the Saints have been a hot topic for talk of the draft and Mel Kiper and they traded up and to get Marcus Davenport. They could have just took Lamar Jackson. They some of the things like they were content not drafting Mahomes because then Lattimore would fall. So they allowed the Chiefs to go ahead of them. Like you start looking at some of these what ifs with the Saints. I mean, some of these guys they've drafted, and it's like I agree. It's like the only thing I don't want to see for the Saints and the Saints fans are don't draft a project. You don't have that luxury. You know who has that luxury? The people like the Eagles who have won the Super Bowl, or teams who are close and they think, hey, I'm one freak athlete away. We're going to give it a shot. I don't get it. I've never got the thought process for it. So I don't know. I'll be a little disappointed if that's what happened. I mean, at that point, you might as well just take Shador because you're taking a project quarterback who's got a lot more intangibles than this guy who is an athlete that do like Carolina did. They signed a basketball player as a free agent to play tight end. They're going to give it a shot like they did with Jimmy Graham. Don't draft this guy in the first round. I mean, these guys went and took this guy as a free agent.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the guy has 4 sacks in 3 years. It's like, but he did have the classic Mickey Loomis quote, which may endear Mickey to him. Oh, well, sacks aren't everything. Like, you got to look past the results.
He'll fit right in with Mickey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, I get it. I get the thought process. Like, you get a guy that's going to learn from Cam Jordan, who's retiring, teach him how to be a pro, get his technique down, everything like that. Oh, we can coach him up. Look, Dennis Allen was a hell of a defensive coach, and he couldn't get jack diddly shit out of Marcus Davenport or Peyton Turner. That may be one of the worst fucking draft picks. Excuse my language, freaking draft picks we ever did.
Yep.
Golly.
I remember, so I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't want to see upset so early in the night on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'll probably go home. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll probably leave.
I get it. Before we get to 9, though, I do. There's a couple, fantasy implication questions I got for you. So I've seen a lot of steam with Warren going 7th overall to the Jets. What is your thought? Do you think he goes that high? Because if he hasn't gone to the Jets in a mock, he's going to the Colts, is where I've seen him land.
So I personally don't think they take him there.
Okay.
I think they take the tackle out of Missouri. That way you build that offensive line. You got Fashanu last year. You have Elijah Vera Tucker, if he can ever stay healthy. And you have the other guy. And then you have the right Metabu, I think his name is, or Membu, on the right tackle. You already have Tip Ryman. Ryman out of Wisconsin. They drafted a few years ago. So they have a young core there. And I feel like that would just solidify the offensive line. And, hey, actually give your quarterback a chance.
Yep, that's fair. So if he doesn't go 7th, do you think he lands at 14?
I think
To
it
the
was 10.
Colts?
If Gentry's
10?
not there, he goes 10.
Even with Kmet at the
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. I
Because
hadn't seen that. I like that. I like that spot.
Well, Warren's is able to do so much. You know what I mean? It'd be like the hope would be like a more successful Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid.
Well, and then so the other tight end, the kid from Michigan, what's his Loveland?
Loveland.
Everywhere I've seen has him going to the Broncos. It's not even like it's like hey, that's where we're going.
He doesn't make it past the Colts.
Doesn't make it past the Colts. Okay.
Doesn't make it past the Colts. There's just such a big need there, and this kid is going to be more of a pass catching tight end. I just don't think he makes it past the Colts. If you're looking at Denver, you circle running back there.
Okay.
The way Sean Payton likes to run his offense, and here's a hot take. I could see Henderson in that spot going above Amarion Hampton, just for
to the Broncos or
to the Broncos. To the Broncos.
Okay.
I feel like Sean Payton would like that fit a little bit more, kind of get his Alvin Kamara-esque running back there.
So if let's just say hypothetical Henderson goes to the Broncos, is he your number 2 rated pick in the rookie draft, or are you still holding with Hampton?
Oh man, I don't know.
Because
I like Hampton a lot.
As someone who's been burned in the past, who's made the mistake, I've tried to go with fit over talent.
Yeah,
and that has blown up in my face exponentially.
Look, I've been there too, man. Been there too.
I'll start owning some of these Treylon Burks, Sky Moore.
Oh,
yeah, I've passed up players like Olave and Wilson, and it just So I know it's a little bit different with running back. It's a little bit different. Yep. It was my early years of Dynasty. I feel like I'm a little more seasoned now. But does the fit with Sean where he's going to get touches and that's a running back mecca for points in fantasy? Does that make you sway a little bit towards him at 2 if you had to?
Maybe. But I also should throw a curveball here. If he goes 20, I feel like Hampton goes 21 to the Steelers. And it's hard pressed to not take a power running back that goes to the Steelers, right? Especially because he's going to have a defined role. Warren is not taking goal line work from him. And who's playing quarterback?
It's fair. It's a fair question.
I mean, they could roll with Mason Rudolph and they hand the ball off 25 times a game to this guy. Give me that all day. So when you get to that point, it's really just nitpicking on who you like better.
So with the possibility of Tet falling, let's ask you this: how many receivers do you think go in the first round?
2.
Tet, we're not counting Travis Hunter.
No, not counting Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Golden makes it in.
Golden,
yeah, the speed guy from Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, that's who my belief is, because I truly believe, like, let's say Tech goes 8 to Carolina. I don't think they go that route, but let's just throw it out there. Or we take him at 9. So, like, let's just say Tech goes before 12 to before the Cowboys. I can see Golden going to Dallas.
Gotcha.
They're looking for that extra playmaker across, or I guess on the outside, to complement CD.
Okay.
That's what everything I've been seeing. Everything I've been hearing has been that.
It's going to be an interesting first round. I know we've got a lot of fantasy assets going to be drafted day 2. Second, third round. But I would say maybe besides Genty, who is the player, if you could have anybody, who would it be as of today's recording?
I'm still going to go with Ted. I've been riding that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's getting disrespected, man. I
think somebody's trying to make sure he falls.
Maybe that's what it is. This is the biggest magic show ever, is the week before the draft.
It's all
weeks
smooth
leading up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just hard. I'm just hard pressed to find, like, look, even if he doesn't become the next Mike Evans or something like that, which I don't think he is, you can't tell me he doesn't have the potential to get 12 touchdowns a year just for being a big body wide receiver. You know,
yeah, especially most of his landing spots, he's going to be one of the focal points in that offense. I mean, I understand CeeDee Lamb's with Dallas, but if he landed in Dallas, there's plenty. They've been feeding the ball to Ferguson because they don't have that second option at receiver.
exactly.
So no, I'll be curious to see.
What about you? Let me flip that around. What about you?
You know what, dude? I like. It's based on, to me, it's based on fit. But if I was going to take another player, I would probably take Hampton.
Yeah, dude, he's a bull in a china shop, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you like those old school running backs. Oh, it's so fun to watch.
See, in my so it's a little unfair to ask me because I have the 1.1 in one league and nothing else, and I have nothing in the other league. So, but I have like 3 or 4 spots that are going to be empty when free agency opens. So I'm just going to be looking at who doesn't get drafted. Like where's Mason Taylor goes? Mason Taylor going to get drafted? Are some of these other guys like, I might take flyers on as restricted free agents.
I tell you, I don't think I think Mason Taylor gets drafted in both rookie leagues.
I think he will too, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
I'm gonna have to try to pull out, on my team where I have that spot. I drafted St. Brown, the second to last pick of our rookie draft, or our regular draft, and then I picked up Puka. So I've had success there. I'm hoping I can hit for a third time, but if I'm taking anyone else, I'm besides Genti, I think it's Hampton. And it's tough because I like Henderson, but I just can't buy. I don't think the tight ends are just. I like the tight ends in the draft. I don't think the tight ends are just going to keep
just coming out,
performing and just killing each other each year. So,
but no, I agree with you there. I just like the top 2 prospects that they have here, and I mean, and talk about tight end, and then Mason Taylor to me is sneaky. Like I could see him being a guy that's drafted in the second, third round, but I think more second round. I'm talking about the real NFL. And actually carving out a pretty good niche in an offense. So it'd be interesting to see. I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait to see how this all shakes out and plays out and everything. But the one other player that does intrigue me is another running back. I know a little running back fatigue here, but it is fantasy football. Is Judkins, right? From Ohio State. Man, I don't know how to judge him. Okay, he's a big back. He did phenomenal at the combine. He dominated the SEC early on. Goes and splits the backfield at Ohio State. And it's solid, really good. Helped him lead to a national championship. It's just, do you think he has enough explosion and wiggle to succeed in the NFL?
Does he go to a team in this high second round like the Browns, who have a guy like Ford? Do you think he goes to the Giants
Cowboys?
where? He's not going to have to be the focal point, but he's going to be a solid piece.
Yeah. I mean, and I honestly kind of like that, with him not being the bell cow, but it just being like that, I guess that fourth quarter kind of closer kind of guy. Like, hey, we're up, we're going to take him and put him in, and he's just going to pound you into submission. So he's another one that's very, very intriguing that I'm interested to see where he goes, because Fitz going to have a lot to do for him.
Yeah. The only thing I can guarantee on draft night is 2 things. I'm going to have great people to watch it with and good food to eat. So,
I mean, that is a guarantee. But I mean, well, I got few little notes I want to tidbits I want to drop in here.
Okay.
I've already said the Giants are split on Shador. The front office loves him. Apparently, the coach is a little iffy. And it's all stuff I'm hearing, right?
Okay.
What's else? You already got me to the so the only one I'm going to say is Michael Williams. That's a name to watch out for.
Okay.
The Georgia defensive end. He doesn't have as much production, but he's going a lot later in mock drafts than I think people realize, and he's going to go a lot higher than that. And do not be shocked if he goes 9. I just have.
Is that you said that's the kid from Georgia, right?
Yeah, not Walker, the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I would love to have Walker. I just think he goes higher than when we take him, right? So,
what about some of these DBs that we really haven't? I mean, you got Starks from Georgia. You got you've got the two cornerbacks. What is it? Williams and Banks, I think, or Johnson and Banks.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Johnson scares the shit out of me, right? Because he didn't run the 40. Like, even at his pro day showcase, whatever, he refused to run the 40. And to me, that is signaling red flags. Like, hey, I'm going to run slow. So unless you're running a zone heavy scheme, do not draft me.
Okay.
And look, I could be completely wrong. It's just the vibe I'm getting.
I mean, he's great in Madden. I'll just let you know that right now.
He's amazing.
All right. So you thinking DBs might not come off the board until middle to late round?
I think Will Johnson's probably going to end up probably in the 12 to 17 range. That's probably somewhere you'll see the kid from Texas come off as well. And there's some other interesting guys like you said Starks. It's just positional value, right? He's a safety, so they don't necessarily get drafted high. So I mean, I could see him probably being early 20s to the end of the first round. But he's a physical freak. He tore up the combine. But
remember when LeBron Landry went so high? The old muscle bound dude from LSU.
Have you he had a picture out there not so long ago where I'm like, bro, how do you even wipe yourself?
Oh, he's huge, dude. He's still
I'm like,
he's definitely on the juice, huh?
Well, I mean, that's why he's not in the NFL. He failed four PED tests. I'm like, you think after the first 3 you'd learn.
Oh man, yes, it's so funny to see how the league progresses. You used to have the safeties go high.
Yeah.
They got burned on a couple tight ends, so now they're talking about them going high, but they're not going to go.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. I was thinking of he had a resurgence, but Vernon Davis for a while was on bust.
Oh yeah,
bust alert. So, do you think? So, I guess this is the only other thing I had tagged here.
Yeah.
Do you think any veterans are traded on day one of the draft?
Oh, we get specific of day one.
Well, I'm just saying day one because that's what we're kind of talking about.
Hopefully, Derek Carr is not going to happen now.
No, I don't think so.
I'm going to bet no, but I wouldn't be shocked. But it should be interesting. It's always fun when stuff like that happens, right? Like when AJ Brown got traded, you can see Mike Vrabel visibly die a little bit inside.
Yeah,
because he's like, wait, what?
But yeah, I'd just be curious.
What about you?
Jalen Ramsey. Obviously, they said they're going to move on from him. If there's teams that are a little concerned about you got from Michigan, Johnson, then does someone trade for him? Is he even worth a first round pick? But do people potentially? Do you see a trade, right? So maybe someone gives up a second for Ramsey and they go another route. I do know, we'll probably see some movement of these players, maybe day 2 and day 3. But
yeah, I think that's where you probably see more of it.
Yeah, the only one. I mean, if there's any validity to AJ Brown, but other than that, it's just a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. I have heard Mayer's name from the Raiders tossed around.
That doesn't shock me though.
To give him a fresh start because they got Bowers, but other than that, I'm kind of liking that. I don't know a lot going into it. I don't feel like there's a lot that's certain. 3 is going to be where the draft starts, and it's going to be buckle up and let's take the ride. I think.
Put your big boy pants on and let's do this thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean that's and I agree with that. I will say last year was a little fun though. First of all, I'm just preface this now. Last year's draft class is going to go down. I'm talking about just overall, everybody is going to go down. It's probably one of the better ones of all time. Just the amount of I'm talking 2011, just the amount of impact players that have come out of that draft already is incredible. This draft is probably going to be more starters than studs. If that makes sense.
Yep,
which isn't a bad thing, but it is what it is. But for fantasy wise, running back. This is your draft. Go get one. there may be guys that get drafted in the 4th round that should have been drafted in the 2nd round. So it's definitely a good spot to be in if you need a running back and have a lot of draft picks, which I don't really need a running back and I have a lot of draft picks. So it's interesting. We'll see how it goes.
In what league? You have a lot in Degenerates?
Degenerates. Yeah. Yep.
I need a running back.
Well, hey, hit me up. But I think if there's nothing else there, Shane, I think this is a good stopping point for us, big dog.
Absolutely. I'm loving the back and forth. I'm loving the take. Yeah. I'm just ready for Thursday. Can it get here already?
That's what I'm saying. Hell yeah, man. But for that, just 3 more days the time of recording. You know, it's the most wonderful time of year, and I will see you Thursday for Draft Miss.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
Be back next week, wonderful people listening. Drop a like, drop a comment, and we'll be back next time. Later. Peace.
Peace.